Hello, today I'm going to talk about something that you see from time to time. For some people, it's a very important thing. For most of us, I think it's just going flying right by, over our head. It's not that critical of an idea for us, but it may be more critical than what you realize. So I want to bring it up so that you know about it, so that you can make your own mind up about what you want to pursue or support, etc. This is, and before I keep on going, I'm trying to remember to tell folks, please like these videos. If you get something out of them, like, subscribe to the channel so that you can see more, hear more, find out more. I'm just sharing knowledge, sharing information. You can do with it what you want to, okay? But there's a lot of things that go on in the world that we don't, the news focuses on certain things, and our politicians focus us on certain things. And our education is teaching certain things and not other things. So I'm just trying to share the knowledge, right? So the topic is the Noahide laws. Noahide laws. If you've heard of this, you might get the impression that at some point in history, Noah, after he came out off the boat, off the ark, set down some laws, and that's not what happened. Okay, we know that from biblical history that the Ten Commandments come from Abraham, and Abraham came along long after Noah. Okay. And then historically, if we look at how things have worked out, the Noahide laws actually don't show up until way past Abraham, until the Judah was taken into exile, and these rabbis who the temple was destroyed, the rabbis were taken off to Babylon, and that's where these Noahide laws came into play. The rabbis started writing commentary on the Torah. It's important to understand that the Torah is not the Talmud, and you get these Noahide laws out of the Talmudic kind of writings. Okay, so there's the Noahide laws cover the let's see what I'm trying to say here. So the laws for the house of Israel were for both the people, the house of Israel, and the sojourners, right? So everyone who came up out of Egypt with the 12 tribes, they weren't all Benjamites, Danites, Gadites, Judites, okay? These were the families, Judah, Reuben, etc. Those were the families. We get the names of the tribes from the 12 sons of Jacob, right? Jacob was called at some point after he wrestled with you've heard the stairway to heaven, the actual story of the stairway to heaven, and after that he was named Israel, okay? Changed his name from Jacob to Israel. So the 10 tribes of Israel are these descendants of these sons. The laws of the Torah apply to everyone who's part of the community. And there's the Noahide law sort of acts like that's not true, and so we need to do something special. But so there's, and I'll just recite, give you some of these. So Exodus 12:49 talks about there's one law for all. Exodus 14:19 and 16:1 talks about non-Israelites being included in their laws. Numbers 15:15, the Torah is made for all. There's only one statute, and etc. So it's there in the Bible. So if people want to argue that the Noahide laws are needed as something special and unique, no, they're not. Now here's the problem. As I said, the Noahide laws are written by the rabbis. They're not given down on a tablet like the Ten Commandments or anything, right? And they're for, you can see here are the Jews who are just a remainder. The lost tribes of Israel, the 10 lost tribes, they were 12 tribes in total, right? The 10 lost tribes, they had been, the northern kingdom had been split away from after Solomon. The sons split up the kingdom, and you had the southern kingdom, which was Judah, with some tribes of Manasseh and Benjamin, etc. The northern kingdom were the other tribes, Reuben, Dan, Gad, etc. The Syrians came in and took off the northern tribes at hundreds of years before the Babylonians came in and wiped out Jerusalem and took off the Judahites. Okay, and then later on in history, the Babylonian kings let the Israelites come back, the Judites, those who were in Babylon, because certainly there would be people who were, I'm sure, descendants of all of these tribes all mixed together in the mix, right? I mean, where's your family from? Alabama, New York, North Carolina? I mean, Arizona? Where? I have family history that goes through multiple states, right? So similarly, you can imagine all these people are mixed up to a degree, but the Judah, the nation of Judah, was the southern kingdom after the split, and the nation of Israel were where the majority of tribes, but Israel, so they got to keep their name as Israel, right? And the Judah said, no, we're not going. We're sticking. Our king is the king, not that other guy. So we're sticking with this king, and we're going to stay Judah. Now, they're all Israelites, right? Because they're all part of the 12 tribes, the 12 sons of Jacob. So, why these Noahide laws? There are legislatures in the United States passing legislation saying that we need to follow the Noahide laws. Well, these Noahide laws are not what you might think they are. No, basically, they basically are the same as the Ten Commandments for the most part, right? They cover the Ten Commandments. They just add a little bit to it, okay? And well, what do we need them for if we're already, the Western civilization already follows the Ten Commandments? And if they don't, well, all we need to do is get back to following the Ten Commandments. We don't need to add some more, come up with another law to stick on top of things, right? So my concern about the Noahide Law is that it acts as if there's a law for the people of Israel and there's a law for everybody else. I'm not a blood relation of somebody from Palestine, not directly. I may well be, you may well be, after 100 generations or something. We may have some blood from that, right? But we didn't. I'm not a direct blood relation, probably with anybody who currently who has been practicing the Jewish faith, the faith we know as the Jewish faith. I'm probably not very closely related to those people, just, and I certainly don't follow the Jewish faith because I'm a Christian, right? So, but what I'm concerned about is that there is law number 6:11. Anyway, I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put a link down below so that you can look at this for yourself. There are a couple of videos that you can look at for yourself. Make up your own mind. My concern is that this law is very similar to Sharia law. Now, you've heard about Sharia law. Sharia law is where the Muslim imams get to decide what's right and wrong. They get to decide that you're blaspheming their God. They get to decide that, hey, you can cut off that person's hand, all right, because they're not being a good Muslim, okay? Well, this particular law of the Noahide laws calls for a court of justice and calls for people who are to be punished, that they be punished with decapitation. Well, I'm not too concerned about whether you shoot me or decapitate me. I just don't want you to kill me in the first place just because I've offended you in some way by saying something you don't like. This is the danger. A lot of the stuff that we've got going on in society right now, if you that over the last few years, a lot of it is where even the laws that are written by our legislatures and things, some of them are laws that say, hey, we're not going to define what a particular thing is. We're going to leave it up to the interpretation of a certain group. Okay, so if we'll leave it up to the experts in religion, we're leave it up to the experts in morality. Well, the problem is that if you haven't noticed, public opinion changes on things all the time. So what seemed to be fine and dandy 50 years ago is now something that, everybody pretty much may agree that it's not appropriate stuff. But you don't want to leave it, it's like, is racism left up to the NAACP? Well, we ought to all agree what something racist is, and not just leave it up to a particular group. Is justice left up to a particular, the law school at Yale? I don't want to do that, right? Our legislation should state very clearly that an offense is an offense, and if it has to be written in very specific things, maybe you can't spit in somebody's face. If that's what everybody wants to agree, that you can't spit in the face of somebody who is of a different faith than you, then okay. It should be clearly stated in the law, and not something that's just left up to a Noahide court or a Sharia court about whether it's right or wrong. We have civil courts in the United States, and that's where we need to keep our laws and how laws are followed. But this Noahide law, to me, it's a dangerous step to be taking. Again, most of what the Noahide laws call for is something that no one would have any argument with. But when you start splitting this up into, well, this group is separate than this group and has a different law from that group, that's not good. Many people think that Noahide law, if we got to the point in society, maybe the society breaks down a little bit more than it's already breaking down right now. And you get to a place where, or maybe you're just traveling across the United States and you come into a town and it's politically run by people of the Jewish faith. And they've set up a Noahide court. Just like in some cities up north, there are people who, have their Sharia courts. Now, they may not have the power that they do in the Europe. Some of these Sharia courts have a tremendous amount of power, right? I mean, I think it's France. You don't bother to go into a Muslim neighborhood enclave, right? The police stay out, let them handle their own thing, all right? We don't want to get to a place like that where one group is special and gets their own set of laws, and another group and the rest of everybody else doesn't get that, has to abide by that group's laws whenever we're interacting with them or anything. And frankly, even the people within that shouldn't have to live by law in the United States. Okay? Unless, now honestly, I can see where, yes, if 60% of the people in a particular locality wants to do particular things, they can do things that are let's say 60% of people in your town want to celebrate Christmas, and they want to have a nativity scene at the courthouse every year, and they pass a law that says every year from December 1st to December 31st, there shall be a nativity scene set up, and it shall include 2 donkeys, some goats, a cow, and people dressed up to represent Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, and 3 angels and 5 shepherds and 3 wise men. Okay, a city can do that. That's okay. Your community wants to do that, but your community can't decide that if I don't want to celebrate Christmas myself, that they have to make me go down and sit in front of that nativity scene, right? That's the separation of church and state, but that we practice. In the case of this Sharia law, this Noahide law, well, the Torah is not the Talmud. And just because the Talmud said something doesn't mean that there's a lot of people out there around the nation who have become very enamored of the idea that, they're trying to love Israel, and they're really just going way too far. And they're embracing this Talmudic faith in their own lives and trying to. Now, they think that they are correct, and they think they're being faithful people, and so they want to push this idea. But this idea is not a biblical idea. This is not a Torah idea. This is a Talmudic, which is Jewish commentary on the Bible. And if you look into the Talmud, you will find some very interesting, would be the kindest thing to say about concerning things. Things that you probably would disagree with very much, that are approved or pushed by the teachings of the Talmud. Anyway, just want to throw that out there. Take a look at what's below, and look at it yourself, and figure out whether or not this idea of Noahide, the Noahide laws, are something that the communities and states, and certainly the nation of the United States, should actually be bringing into their own codes of law. Please like it, subscribe. Tell me you think that you disagree 100%. That's fine. Say that you don't like, that you think Noahide law is just the greatest thing in the world. Whatever. Just wanted to throw this out because once again, I think that this stuff is going over the heads of most people, and we need to at least be aware of what's going on around us, so that we can react to it correctly. Because frankly, I mean, after they back, 10 or 15 years ago, whenever they did I guess it was closer to 10, whenever they did the legislation for Obamacare, and the Congress said, well, I think it was Pelosi who said it, who said, hey, somebody was saying, have you read that thick document? And she said, well, we need to pass it first, then we can read it. I mean, this is what our lawmakers have done over and over and over again. And this is what all kind of nonprofit groups that are pushing their own particular agendas, this is the kind of thing they want to do too. We need to get something on the books that the average person has no idea about, and will act like it is going to help something very that people really care about. It'll help the children, right? Whatever it is. But once it's on the books, then you find out, hey, this thing is not really helping us in the way that it's making you do things that should be a choice of conscience and not a legal choice. Like, subscribe, comment, and have a good day. And take a look at the one that I'm putting down below.